Hello and welcome to another episode of Cigar and Bar. Tonight we are going to be doing a cocktail corner where I'm going to be making something called a Lambrusco Smash. Good evening and welcome, thirsty visitors. I am James of Cigar and Bar, and this is friend of the show, Kate, who's going to be enjoying a couple of bottles with us tonight because I've got a lot to open and sample, and that requires more than one person to drink. I only recently discovered there was such a thing as sparkling red wine. It's an Italian thing called Lambrusco, and I went out to my local liquor store, the LCBO here in Ontario, and I managed to get my hands on 4 different bottles of Lambrusco so we could give them a try, and just kind of go through what they are, because I had never heard of it before, and then once we've picked one that we like the best, then we're going to make a cocktail with it called a Lambrusco Smash. What are your thoughts on sparkling red wine?
I'm not too sure how I feel about it, honestly. Red wine, I've never heard of sparkling red wine, but I am excited to try some.
I'm not sure about sparkling red wine. It's going to be much different from sparkling white wine. What throws me off is that it's red wine that's served cold, and I'm not used to that. I'm not going to get too much into the technical history of it, but it is the name of a specific type of red wine grape, and Lambrusco is a type of red wine made from that grape in the Lombardy region of Italy. The 4 Lambruscos we have today are the Labrusca, which is a mere 10 grams of sugar per liter. We have the Settecani Lambrusco, which is 16 grams per liter. From there, we take a big jump up to the Castelvetra, which is 49 grams per liter, before we get over to the Riunite Frizzante, which is 55 grams of sugar per liter. Yikes, that's a lot of sugar. Now, I know that I tend to like drier sparkling wines. What's your preference?
I prefer sweeter sparkling wines, even though dry is really awesome, but sweeter is my go-to.
So we're going to have to see which ones we like. So you're likely going to like one of the 2 over here, and I'm likely to like one of the 2 over here. Let's try these 4, and then we'll decide, once we've had a look at the recipe for the Lambrusco Smash that we're going to make, whether we think a dry Lambrusco or a sweet Lambrusco is going to help with the making of that particular cocktail.
Okay, sounds like a good plan.
All right, let's jump into them. Our first one that we're going to try today is the Lambrusco Rosso. We're starting with the lowest sugar content and working up to the highest. Let's see what kind of bottle notes we've got on this. Since 1910, 4 generations, 1 passion. Not a lot else on there. They are a winery of few words. It is nice we've got a little Bacchus having a nap up against the Labrusca with a glass of wine in his hand, so that's nice. This isn't going to be a crash course on how to open sparkling wine, but a good safety tip is always, when you're taking the cage off, from the moment you start taking the cage off the top of the bottle to the moment the cork is off, make sure you've got a hand on it and make sure it's not pointed at anything you don't want it to hit. Treat it like a gun. Keep the safety on and keep it downrange. Now that is a deep red color.
That's nice.
Let's see what we think of it. It smells very dry. It smells like an Italian red wine.
It does.
It has a little bit of effervescence on the top there. Let's give it a try. Cheers.
Cheers.
That is dry.
Oh, that's dry.
It's just...
It's odd because it's dry and cold.
Yeah.
Red wine has a really nice mouthfeel, especially when it's not cold. And now that it's cold, it's like, oh, that's different.
There is a little bit of the bitterness, kind of the roof of my mouth, that I associate, the kind of citrus bitterness that I associate with sparkling wines. Mm-hmm. But the rest of the flavor is just cold red.
Just cold red, yeah.
Just odd. I have the sneaking suspicion I'm going to want this to be sweeter. Maybe not 55 grams sweet, but somewhere north of this. It's got to have a little more sugar. It's interesting. I mean, I wouldn't turn it away at a party. I'm just not sure I'd get a second glass.
It's a bit too dry for my liking. But it has a nice citrusy, tartness to it.
Yeah. Well, let's try the next one. Next up, we have the Settecani Lambrusco. Biologico Secco, so organic and dry. Red sparkling wine, product of Italy. Not a lot of information. Found in 1923. Let's get it open. This is the one that had the 16 grams of sugar per liter, so it should be just a little bit sweeter than the last one. Ooh. Firm cork. There we go.
Ooh.
This one is noticeably more effervescent.
It's also a lot more pink.
In the bubbles, yeah. It's less of a deep red than the last one. It's still very red, but it's a little more ruby, a little less burgundy. This smells a bit different. It smells a little more like a tart strawberry. A little more fruity on the nose.
It's also has hints of like raspberry in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
That is nicer.
I like that better.
It's got a creamier mouthfeel to it. It's a little more fruit forward. It's just a touch sweeter. And that bitterness that I said, that citrus bitterness of a sparkling wine isn't there. Or if it is, it's just fleeting before that smooth sweetness comes on. So that's much nicer.
Yeah.
Now, I would say so far, this is probably the one I'm going to like the most. But I'm not sure. We'll have a discussion about what we think the sweetness impact should be on the cocktail.
You know, it's more sweet than alcohol tasting. It's almost like it's a very, it's like a wine cooler or soda.
Yeah, it does give off, like, mid-90s wine cooler vibes.
Yeah, it doesn't really taste like there's much alcohol in here. It's more of a pop.
It is actually just 10.5% alcohol. So it's hiding that well. Yeah, this is nice. I would get this one again.
Yeah, I would definitely drink this.
All right, on to the next one.
Before we start our next bottle of wine, I wanted to encourage all of our watchers to have a drink of water while they're drinking alcohol. It's a good palate cleanser, and it's always good to stay hydrated while you're drinking.
Particularly with the amount of sugar we've got in these beverages. That can lead to a pretty bad hangover, so anything you can do to kind of stave off dehydration is going to make that just a little bit better.
Yeah. Drink responsibly, everybody.
Our next bottle is a Castelvetro Lambrusco. This is the first one I picked up. I was interested in giving this one a try, so let's go over this one. This one is crackling red wine, which is an interesting way to put it. 8% alcohol, and again, not a talkative bottle. There's not a lot of bottle notes on here. So this one here is the 49 grams of sugar. Let's get it open. This one looks about as red as the last one, with a little bit less in the way of effervescence. Hopefully that's not like cork slippage. This cork was kind of weird. It doesn't smell off. It doesn't smell like much at all. It doesn't have a lot of nose.
You have to almost press your nose against the wine to be able to smell it. It smells slightly like a more tart strawberry that's not quite in season. It's a nice smell.
Well, let's give it a try. Cheers.
Cheers.
It is much sweeter, thinner mouthfeel. It doesn't have quite as high viscosity.
It's very thin.
And it's not particularly sparkling. I mean, it doesn't say sparkling. It says crackling, and I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure if maybe something has gone wrong with this bottle. It doesn't taste like something's gone wrong.
But it's a lot more flat.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of carbonation in it.
I don't think this is going to mix well with the cocktail
No.
that we've got coming up.
It tastes more like a wine than a sparkling wine.
I wouldn't say there was even much wine to it. It tastes more like a fruit juice.
Oh, that's very true. It's very, very sweet. It's almost like a cranberry juice cocktail with artificially sweet.
It's got like an apple sweetness. There's an apple.
Yes, that's the taste. It's very appley.
Which isn't bad. I love cider. This tastes like.
It does taste like a cider.
Like a cider aged in a red wine barrel.
Yeah.
You know, see, this is like a cider, red wine cider. It actually tastes a lot like sweeter and a little bit heavier in the mouthfeel, but like the the rosé cider from No Boats on Sunday.
I was just thinking about
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
this is very much like that. And for my money, if I wanted that flavor, I'd get the No Boats on Sunday rosé cider, as that was got a little more crispness to it and much more effervescence to it. Again, there might be something wrong with this bottle. I'm not sure. If any of you have experienced this particular one and have different notes on it, say that yes, it is like that, it is in fact very flat, or no, there's something wrong with your bottle, maybe try again, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm going to say that this one, definitely not my favorite.
No. I don't think, I think like, if someone handed this to me, I would drink it, and I wouldn't purchase this to drink.
Yeah, I would drink it. I would drink several glasses in a sitting of this. There's nothing wrong with it, but if I had my choice, I wouldn't go out of my way to buy it.
Yeah.
Very interesting addition to the category. Let's move on to our fourth and final bottle. Finally, here we have the Riunite Lambrusco Emilia Indicazione Geografica Tipica Frizzante. Pardon my bad Italian accent. Bottle notes. Okay, this one's actually got some notes. Semi-sparkling sweet red wine, 8% alcohol, light and refreshing with a bright flavor of juicy berries and dark cherries, soft with a lively finish, it pairs well with most food served chilled. Product of Italy, Italian red wine, since 1950. So one of the younger of the wineries. And, as you can see, a little less fancy, no cork on this one. But still, I will open it facing away from me for safety. No crack.
And
no
no little
gas,
bit of like, yeah, like
semi-sparkling.
semi-sparkling. It's like brown.
I don't want to say it, but it's kind of like the color of clotted blood.
It does.
There's something not right about that color.
It does look like clotted blood, doesn't it?
It smells very fruity.
That's got quite a nice nose on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it smells fruity.
I'm a little nervous to try
And
that.
and a little bit like burning rubber. Just a hint of burning rubber on this one.
I'm not comfortable that I can smell that.
Yeah, well, let's give it a try. Cheers.
Cheers!
Huh. That's sweet. It's only a few grams of sugar more than the last bottle, but it is much sweeter in the profile. The flavor overall makes you feel like you're just drinking like an artificially sweetened raspberry soda.
Yeah.
I can taste the cherry.
It definitely tastes of cherry. That's
And the
quite
juicy
sweet.
berry is kind of like it's like I had recently on my bike trip a blueberry wine. It tastes like blueberry wine.
It's also very similar to ice wine.
Yes.
It has the same kind of mouthfeel as ice wine.
It is approaching that space. That
Yeah.
kind of sweet with an almost oniony kind of weird tang on it.
Like almost like like a vinegar feel to it.
And I'm not sure, but semi-sparkling, but I don't really feel that there's anything sparkling in this at all.
I can barely feel carbonation in my mouth right now.
Mm.
I think the first two were definitely sparkling wines, and the second two were more like ice wine, not very carbonated.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. So, we're saying that surprisingly, we're gonna both like the same one.
Yes.
Given our different tastes in sparkling wine, we both thought that the second wine, the Settecani Lambrusco, was the one that was the best.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the second half of the video, where we look at the recipe for the cocktail and we decide which one of these Lambruscos we think will go best with that flavor. We've got our cocktail ingredients here. This is a Lambrusco Smash recipe that I found online, and it calls for Labrusco, orange soda, bourbon, maple syrup, and an orange wedge. Now, when it says orange soda, I assume they mean something like a San Pellegrino here. This is the Aranciata, the orange. But something in my mind just keeps going, orange soda, you mean like an orange crush? Orange soda? I'm sure they don't mean that. Although, if they do, it would be a revelation. It would be amazing if that was actually really good. I remember the first time I paired brandy with orange crush when I was younger, and I thought that I discovered something amazing, how good brandy pairs with orange, which led to my discovery of the Brandy Rattler, which will be another episode. If you want to know more about the Brandy Rattler, comment below. So given that this takes a soda which is, if we use a San Pellegrino, it's an unsweetened soda. If we use the Orange Crush, it's a very sweetened soda. But it also uses maple syrup. Do you think this needs a sweeter Lambrusco or a drier Lambrusco?
I would say a drier, closer to the first two we tried, but definitely the second one, the one that is a little bit sweeter. It's nice to have the sweetness. Also, I think that the other two that had the 49 and 55 grams of sugar are too sweet, and I think it will be outpowered by the maple syrup.
I agree. I would offer one other comment, though, which is that our biggest problem with the first one, to the second one, we thought was a bit better than the first one because it was a bit sweeter. It's a possibility that putting in the cocktail will take those base flavors and elevate it by adding that sweetness. We don't need to add more sweetness to the second one. We need to add sweetness to the first one. So maybe the first one is the one to go with here.
That's very good. I didn't think of that.
Which way do you want to go? Do you want to use... I keep saying first one, second one, but that's not really what we should go with. Do you want to use the Labrusca, or do you want to use the Lambrusco?
I think we should go with the least sweetened one, considering that we've already got orange soda and maple syrup. I think it's going to be pretty sweet without more sweetness.
Let's do that then. Let's make up a batch of Lambrusco Smash.
Ooh.
Now bear with me, this cocktail is in all kinds of different measurements. They've got milliliters and they've got ounces in here. So I've got to do a little bit of quick conversion and make up a half batch. There's only two of us drinking out of this. So I'm going to mix up this particular one with 5.5 ounces of Lambrusco. This being the Lambrusco Rosso, being the one that we've chosen for this particular one. Again, this was the one with the lowest sugar content at 10 grams of sugar per liter. I'm not sure if this is going to preserve any of the effervescence in this. Next, we're going to go with 3 ounces of orange soda, and for this one, I'm going to say San Pellegrino. Next, we're going to go with our bourbon, and this is going to be my favorite bourbon, the Bullet Bourbon. And this is their standard 45% alcohol orange label Bullet Bourbon. They do have a couple other products, including a proofier one as well as a rye. But this is the one that I like. This is what we're going to go with. Good cork there. And we're going to go with 1 1/4 ounces. And finally, we're going to add 3/4 ounce of maple syrup. It does note in the recipe that if you don't want to sweeten it too much, you can omit this particular part. But I want to see what the maple adds to the flavor. Recipe calls for this to be stirred in a pitcher. That's for a whole batch. We're not doing a whole batch. We're just doing 2 glasses. It feels heavy to stir, which is odd. The recipe does call for this to be rimmed with a cinnamon sugar. I'm just going to skip that for now because this is more about me exploring the taste of the Lambrusco in a cocktail. I'm not sure I want to have more sugar on the rim. And considering we didn't omit the maple syrup, I think the sugar is a little more redundant. I may consider just grating a little bit of cinnamon over the top so you get that flavor just in case it's an integral component to the cocktail. I'm a little surprised that this didn't call for the pitcher to be full of ice, but I suppose they're just worried about dilution. I'm just trying to make sure that it gets a little bit of agitation here so that these are chilled a little bit, because the only chilled ingredient that I put into the glass was the Lambrusco itself. It's the only thing that was chilled. So I decided to go ahead and add a little bit of garnish to this to make up for the rim that I didn't put on it. So we're going to start with adding just a twist of orange, because I was supposed to rim it with an orange. We're gonna add a little bit of orange on there, and then just a little bit of fresh grated cinnamon. And that has already got such an orange and cinnamony nose to it. It looks incredible.
I can smell it from here. It's amazing.
So here we are with our second favorite of the Lambruscos, with a Lambrusco Smash.
Cheers. Oh man,
It's a very festive, warming drink.
it's very warm. I like it.
You do get all of those. No, it's a lie. You get most of those components. I definitely taste the Lambrusco.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely taste the bourbon.
Yes.
Definitely taste the maple. And now maybe there it is on the end. I was struggling to taste the orange soda. What do you think?
I can smell the orange twist on the top, and I can't taste the orange soda.
Yeah.
So maybe for next time we try this soda.
Maybe we try the crazy orange crush, and it's something new and something crazy. I don't know. I wouldn't have thought of putting orange crush in there, but orange soda is the first thing that came to my mind. Orange soda. I also did buy the bubbly concentrate for the orange bubbly, which is a concentrate to be put in sparkling water to make a slightly orange flavored sparkling water. I thought that could be interesting.
That might be too faint.
It's also much more fizzy, much more effervescent.
Yes.
This is not a lot of fizz in this one, and because it's comparable, there's a little bit more than we got in the Labrusco, but it would be very much fizzier if I ran that through my soda stream and put that in this.
It's got a nice creamy mouthfeel. I really like that.
I like, maybe this is the simpleness in me, but I like the maple and the bourbon at the base of this cocktail. There's more of the Lambrusco in there, and it does come through. It tastes. It gives it a hint at the end that this is like a mulled wine. This is not a mulled wine though. This is like a mulled wine cocktail.
Yes.
A cocktail that takes the idea of a mulled wine and puts it into a proofier space. It's not bad at all.
It's quite nice. I definitely would have this again.
Yeah. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this cocktail corner today. This has been a Lambrusco Smash with a 4-bottle Lambrusco tasting with friend of the channel, Kate, here. I am James of Cigar and Bar, and I will see you next time on Cocktail Corner. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that's good. No orange crush.
We gotta try it.
No revelations today. It makes it taste like an ashtray.